What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in, listening to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. We're going to break down Monday, August 11th. This will also repeat Tuesday, August 26th. This is an ESP 30-30 day, but actually it's set up as a SEP day, strength, endurance, then power. We'll talk about the 2G, talk about the 3G, and then wrap it on up. Okay, so 2G key concepts today. We're going to see 3 blocks, 3 focus. Strength with climbing hills, endurance with builds, and then power with explosive all-outs to finish. For the rower, we're going to hit a 300-meter row in each part. Same distance, but faster every time. And then on the floor, you'll repeat the circuit 3 different times, 3 different ways. Slow, increase reps, then go explosive. Okay, so when it comes to Marathon Month, people, this is a day where we are going to ask them to reset their screen during the first block a couple times. So to avoid any math situation, have them log in at the start of block 1. Total time for this one is going to be right at 23 minutes and 30 seconds as well. So we're going to see a 7-minute block for blocks 1 and 2, and then a 6.5-minute block for block 3 with 90 seconds recovery between each block. Now, block 1 is a strength block. We're going to see a member choice speed with incline. And they're going to clear out their screen. They have 3 minutes to collect distance. But the twist is they start at 4% incline. Every minute they go up by 2%. So they'll see 4, 6, 8% incline. Then they'll take a 1-minute walk recovery. And then they're going to repeat it again. Okay, so at the start of the block, they'll clear out the screen. At the end of the 1-minute walk recovery, they'll clear out the screen again. That being said, if they are trying to follow the template, Marathon Month people, they'll need to log in at the start of block 1 since they have to clear out the screen a few times. Knowing that we start at a 4% incline and it only goes up from there, I would highly recommend people start below their base or at most their base, because if they're doing 4, 6, and 8% incline, that's pretty aggressive. It's going to start pretty much right at a push feeling, and then it's going to finish by like a push all out. So if they can maintain their base, amazing. Otherwise, it is okay to adjust as the incline goes up. But whatever they get at the end of 3 minutes, they have a minute to recover, and then they're looking to match or beat it. So could they go 0.1 faster all the way through, or can they at least maintain the speeds they used? Block 2 is going to be 2 different builds. You could look at it as the same build, but the second build does finish with an all out. So you'll start at base, and then you go to a base push, push. And then can they maintain or increase the adds as they repeat it again? So 1-minute base, base push, push, go back to base, base, push, and then an all out. I've talked about it before in these past videos when it comes to builds. You could go off of the parameters. So, power walkers 1 to 3% for the base. When they go to the base push, anywhere from 1 to 6%. And then for their push, 6% or greater. Joggers and runners, they start at base, they add something between their base and the push, and then 1 to 2 over their base speed. The other way to approach it is, the continual incremental adds that repeat. So I like to approach it with the idea of power walkers, can you add 1 to 3% incline every minute? How much you add is up to you. Joggers and runners, pick something between 0.1 up to 0.5, and then try to add that every time, right? So if they are conservative and they do 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, yeah, it might not be their true push speed or intensity, but does it feel like a push because of the duration of what they've been doing, right? So not just intensity, also pay attention to effort and heart rate response. When they repeat the build, just remember they do finish with a 1-minute all out. The third block, we're going to see a total of 3 rounds of a base all out walk recovery. First round, and every round, base is 45 seconds. The all outs will decrease. You'll have a minute with a 1-minute walk. The next all out is 45 seconds, and then 30 seconds. The goal is to maintain their base and then increase the all out every time. Knowing that they finish that walk and they go right into base, you could approach it in the idea of they have about a minute 45 of recovery between each all out. So definitely opportunity to increase, because 1, that is plenty of time to recover, but also the all outs do get shorter throughout the block. Now, the weight floor is set up in a unique situation. It's 1 long block, and it's just repeated 3 different times, 3 different ways. So part one, strength block, is a 300-meter row, and then we're going to see bench tap front squat, bench bridge with shoulders on the bench pullover, and a neutral grip shoulder press. In part one, everything is slow. So the rower, lower stroke rate, 20 to 24 strokes per minute. Tempo on the weight floor, everything is slow. 3 counts down, pause, 1 count back up, right? So really slow on the eccentric. And down, 3 counts down is true for all the movements. So as they lower down for the squat, as they drop their hips for the bridge, as they lower the weight for the pullover, as they lower the weight for the shoulder press. The weight down is slow, the way up, 1 or 2 counts. Once they finish those 4 movements for 8 reps, I would use a moderate weight because of that slow tempo. They then go back to the rower, and now they go into part two, endurance. Everything speeds up, but we also add more reps. So the rower, 24 to 28 strokes per minute. They should naturally finish quicker because now they have a higher stroke rate. It will naturally generate more power if they maintain the same leg drive. If, of course, they decrease leg drive compared to the first row, then their wattage will be a little bit lower, and they'll probably match their time. The 3 movements now, standard tempo, 2 counts down, pause, 2 counts up, but now they're doing 12 reps. Ideally, they could hopefully use the same weight that they did for the strength block because it is a quicker tempo and there is more reps if they're using a moderate weight. And then finally, power, 28 to 32 on that push row. Still uncomfortable, but heart rate probably taps into a higher orange by the end. And then when they go to the floor, explosive tempo. So 2 counts down, pause, and then quickly, as fast as they can on the way up. So obviously the key that they use is 2 1 X being explosive. So how fast can they return to the start position, right? A great analogy I like to use for especially the front squat is imagine trying to do a jump squat, just don't jump. So quickly drive up fast, but your feet don't leave the ground. When they finish that third part for power, it'll be their choice of what they will repeat and at what tempo. So they'll choose their favorite exercises of the 4 and the tempos that they want to use. So you could approach this as, hey, use the same tempo for your favorite movements, or maybe a different tempo for the movements that you're going to repeat. Maybe you have someone who's going to do the tap squat, the pullover, and the shoulder press. The tap squat, they're going to do a slow tempo. Maybe the pullover, they're going to do a standard tempo, and then the shoulder press, they're going to do explosive. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Maybe they do one movement and they just do that one movement on repeat. That's cool too, because that was their favorite one. Their finisher is going to be their choice of their favorite for the final 30. And that's going to be it for the 2G. When we look at the 3G, setup very similar, strength, endurance, power, 3 blocks on the treads, on the rowers, and then like the 2G, 1 long block on the weight floor. So on the tread side, they're going to start with a 90-second tread. They're actually going to start at a 6% incline, and then every 30 seconds they're going to go up. So 6, 8, 10. Whew. 1 minute walk, and then they're going to do it again. And just like in the marathon 2G, make sure they log in at the start because we'll have them clear out the screen at the beginning of the block and after the walk recovery. Of course, logging in does clear out the screen for them. Starting off with pretty high incline, definitely start below their base. And then on the next round, could they get closer to their base? Block 2, it's the builds, but now they are the same. So they'll do 30 seconds of a base push, push, push all out. Increase intensity every 30 seconds, match or increase the builds on the repeat. Okay. This one does not end in a true all out. After the second push all out, they have a 1 minute walk recovery, and then we go to block 3. Block 3 is set up the same way as the 2G with the power, but now the base is only 30 seconds, and then the walk recovery is only 30 seconds. So 30 base, 1 minute all out, 30 walk, 30 base. So they have about a minute to recover before they hit the 45 all out. And then we drop the last base, 30-second walk, 30 all out. So that last one will be tough to add to it, but if they can, great. And then they're done. When we look on the rower block, we're going to see the same 3 ideas. The first one is a stroke rate build. So they'll do a 90-second row. They'll start at 20 to 24 strokes per minute, and then every 30 seconds, they go up by 4. So 20, 24, 28. Maybe they're at 22, 26, 30, whatever, 24, 28, 32. Okay. After that 90 seconds, they'll recover and then do it again. Use the 90-second stored program for that one. That way they get the time. It does say recovery row for a minute. So if you want people, as soon as they're done, they could tap new interval and keep rowing for a little bit. And then as they are starting to get closer to the end of that minute, tap stored programs. It should still be selected on the 90 seconds. When you do your countdown on 3, they could hit use because there is that time for the tablet to load. 2, 1, and then it'll be ready to go. And then you'll go into that next 90-second row. Block 2 is that same build, like the treads. I would encourage them to prioritize change in leg drive rather than change in stroke rate, since they just did that in block 1. So can they keep their stroke rate the same for about 4 minutes? So with an endurance focus somewhere between 24 to 28, but maybe less leg drive at the beginning, and then push back harder as you increase the intensity. Not necessarily move faster, but just push back harder. And then the third block, base all out, and then all out. And looking to increase row intensity for the all out. So I would go off of wattage. How high did you spike your watts? How high were you able to keep it there for that 1 minute, 45, and then 30? For the weight floor, it is one long block and it's set up just like the 2G, just without the row in, obviously. So slow tempo for 8 reps, regular tempo for 12, explosive tempo for 6 reps. Total time for the treads is 14 minutes and 15 seconds for marathon month in the 3G, so just be aware of that. On the weight floor, when they are down to the final 30 seconds, so at 13:45, that's when they'll hit their finisher. Same thing as the 2G, favorite exercise to complete for the final 30. And there you have it. So once again, Monday, August 11th, repeat Tuesday, the 26th. Coach you down.